Hello everyone and welcome back to North to Prem. In today's episode we have our last game of our second season in the National League North away to Tamworth, and then we have an FA Trophy final, our first cup final in Wembley against Barrow of the National League. We will have our look at our end of season, and then we'll have our cup final as well. So really exciting episode today. So since you last left us, which was the Scunthorpe victory, we have went on another great run. We have unfortunately lost a couple of games, a 1-0 following that game, actually away to 23rd at the time. Oxford City was quite poor, and then a recent 1-0 loss to Chester. Amongst that, we obviously won quite a lot of games in the league and progressed in the FA Trophy, beating South Shields on penalties, and then a 1-0 win away at Yeovil of the National League. We played Barrow in the cup final, who are 6th in the National League at the moment, so that'll be a tough fixture. In terms of money, we are looking really good. Obviously, we had that big cup run that year, this year, which has really progressed as well. In terms of finances for next year, obviously we have wrapped up the league as well with all that victory, so it was only a matter of time, so we didn't need to come back for that. We just need to come back for the end of the season, where we'll play our last game in the league. Relegation still very much to play for at the bottom end of the table. Playoffs is all but secured for most teams, just one spot left. We're obviously going up in the National League as champions, which is great. A little bit of business that we've done. So a couple of players are joining us next year, or have joined us since you last left us, which was when? 15th of Feb. So what have we done since then? So yeah, I think we haven't done any business. I think, well, not in terms of players that are actually at the club. So Luke Hendry was the last one that came in, and no one else has left since then. We have decided to let Caleb Chukwuemeka's contract expire. Whilst he is very, very good at this level, I do wonder whether he'd be able to make the step up. The other side of it is he's currently on £575 a week. He wants astronomical wages that we can't afford, and the board just literally won't let me offer. He was starting salary, he wanted 1.7 grand a week. That's never happening, so good luck to him. Hopefully he finds a club that's willing to pay him £1.5 grand a week, but it's not going to be us. So Caleb Chukwuemeka will leave us at the end of the season, which is a shame, but that's just the way it is. George Robertson also has a future transfer agreed. The young goalkeeper that we had high hopes for, that he was going to be around for the long term. He's not really progressed. I know we haven't really played him, but he's just not really making any progress, and I forgot that at this level basically no one makes any progress. So never sign anyone just for the future. They always should be someone that can at least be part of the squad. So he's going to go to Forest Green of League 2, so hopefully he can progress there on a full-time deal. Other than that, I think Michael Laffey's contract is out at the end of the year. He does look decent. He's played quite a lot of games at Ramsgate in the non-playable leagues. We do have an extension. He's only on £55 a week, so we could use him as rotation, but I just don't think we need him. I just don't think he would just rot, and I just think he would go out on loan again, so there's not really a point. We have actually renewed Kamani Ryan's contract. Obviously, he had this really bad cruciate ligament injury, which is still going to see him out for quite a bit, probably going into next season. But he's so good, and even with the injury, as a leading National League player for £525 a week, I'm happy with him. Obviously, he played really well when he did play, so I'm expecting him to come back and basically come back to his best. Josh Hines is one that will leave at the end of the year. He wants too much money. He's probably not good enough either. And there's a couple others that are going to leave at the end of the year as well. So Josh McCannon, when his contract will expire. And then obviously the loans as well will all go back to their club. A couple of the loans have got contracts ending at the end of the year, so we'll see if we want to get any of those in. In terms of future transfers that we've got arranged, we have signed 4 players who are leaving their Premier League clubs, or maybe Championship for Norwich, but Premier League, Arsenal and Aston Villa. So they're leaving their big clubs and coming down to us once their contracts expire. So let's take a look at them. Obviously, these are all guys on youth contracts, so they are joining us a little bit early on the 4th of the 5th. So the first one is Trivern Mully. He's an 18-year-old right midfielder. We'll obviously play him as a right winger, right attacking midfielder. He's joining us from Aston Villa on a free contract, and I think most of these are around £300 to £500 a week. So he's joining us on a deal. He's obviously got a future transfer agreed with us. He's currently shown as already a good National League player with championship potential. He's someone where if he actually can grow, that's someone we've got for the long term. His Aston Villa teammate Luca Lynch will also be joining us. He's maybe not as exciting. He's a leading National League North player, but I think looking at his stats, he'll be very good in the National League. He's a centre mid, but I think he'll be either playing as an attacking midfielder or we'll probably play him as a deep line playmaker. with 14 passing, 14 first touch, and he can run a bit. I think a deep line playmaker suits him very well. So he joins us on a deal as well. I think a couple of these are 2-year deals. I think his and Louis Copley's are 2-year deals. And I think it's a shame because you can't really see what you've offered, which is really kind of annoying. Is there a way to see what you've offered? I don't think there is. Is there a way? No, I don't think there's a way once you've done it to actually see what you've offered, which is really annoying. Let me go back to that screen. So those two joined us from Aston Villa. We've then got Louis Copley, who is much more of an attacking midfielder, so in that role just behind the striker. He's an 18-year-old English attacking midfielder, joined us from Arsenal on a 2-year deal. Quite cheap, I believe these two deals were as well. And then we played a little bit more, but I think he's going to be really worth it. So with Chukwuemeka going, we needed a striker to come in, and I think this guy is going to be incredible. Errol Mundell-Smith, 19-year-old striker, already shown as a good National League player with championship potential. Never played a professional game, but I think he's going straight in the side. Some great pace, some great acceleration, agile, 6'2", but he's only got 9 jumping reaches, a little bit disappointing. But he can dribble a bit, he can finish a bit, he's got a decent first touch, got decent technique, decent work rate, good determination, decent composure, good anticipation. I think he's going to be a proper handful, and I think he's going to be a 30-goal season striker. I really do. So those 4 will all be joining us. With that, we obviously have put our committed spending up a little bit, but we still have nearly half the budget. So we got 10 grand, and actually a bit of a transfer budget next year. So if you put that into wages, we've actually got about 11.5k in the wage budget to play with next year. So definitely the cup run has helped. But other than that, I don't think there's a lot of work we need to do. I think some of those youngsters coming in is going to be really good. And then it's just about replacing, I think, maybe the goalkeeper is probably one we might want to look for another option on. But everyone else, I mean, it's just if someone comes available, I think, because realistically, I think we don't need to go and break the bank for anyone who's expecting a big wage. But I'm very happy with the transfers we've done. And the next episode will be a end of season wrap up and transfer special. But this is just a little preview of that. So for our last game in the National League North, this is the side that we're going to go with. We have got a little bit of an injury crisis, as you can see. Quite a few players. Kiddo Taylor-Hart's going to miss the cup final, as well as Reece Allport. So they'll both probably miss the cup final. So we're a little bit light on attackers. So this is the team that we've got. Cowler in goal, a back 4 of Ahui, not Zach Giggs, Kobe Small, Dinell Simiu, and Brandon Horton. Ben Challoner and Joe Knight in the middle, with a midfield 3 of Chukwuemeka, Ibrahim, and then a rare start for McCammon with Gabriel Overton up top. We're not going to play Titchmarsh. I'm playing Challoner, and I've been playing him in the last few league games because obviously he's going to be here next season, and Titchmarsh, unless we sign him after his contract runs out, is probably not going to be joining us, but he probably isn't one that I would look to sign anyway. I think Reece Allport's contract is out at the end of the year as it stands as well, so he is one that I would look to get, as well as the goalkeeper Brad Mayo. He's another one who, if they don't actually renew it, he is probably someone I would go in for because he's probably better than Cowler. Cowler has been okay this year, and I don't think it's a position where if we couldn't get one on a decent wage, I'm going to go out and break the bank for like £1,000 a week for a good goalkeeper. I think he'd be very serviceable, and we don't, because of how good we are, we don't actually concede a lot of shots on target anyway. All that being said, it is a position probably out of everywhere in the 11 where I think, we probably need to strengthen. You're probably thinking we've got Errol Mundell-Smith up top, and then probably Kiddo Taylor-Hart and Kamani Ryan on the wings with either Copley or Ibrahim in behind. I think that's a very good 4. Midfield 2, you're probably looking at Knight and Challoner at the minute. Maybe we bring in that other lad from Aston Villa. I don't know. We probably need someone who's more of a ball winner, really, than them two. I think they're both probably playmakers. So that is probably one position we need. I think Ben Challoner does have a lot of mistakes in him. He got suspended for like 3 games for a horror tackle, and since he's come back, and he's gave like 2 penalties away, and he just gave one away there. And Tamworth do go 1-0 up, which is really not the kind of momentum you want going into a cup final. Obviously, the league's wrapped up, so we're not too bothered on the result. But it's nice to have the momentum in the dynamics to get all the players up for it, to go into that cup final, because we would like to win it. Obviously, it's not a big deal. It's only the FA Trophy, but if we can add another trophy to the cabinet, I mean, that's good. Obviously, we've done well this year to add the National League North, so if we could do that, I don't remember the last time someone from National League North won the trophy. I think it's definitely been done. I can't remember if it was Gateshead or York, but it was definitely a North East team done it. But it looks like we're going to have a penalty of our own, actually. Simiu got pushed in the box. And this could be the last time we see Caleb Chukwuemeka score a goal for Peterborough Sports, and he does put it in, and it is 1-1, and we've got back on level terms, but hopefully he can score once more in the trophy final. That would be a good way to leave the club if he does end up going. He has actually to play on the right-hand side just because we have been a little bit light in attackers, but I'm okay with it. I don't mind being light. We've already wrapped up the league title. There's no point signing anyone now. There's no one that I'd really want. I'd rather wait for free transfer day and get all the young players that are going to be here for the future as well, that are going to have a bit of a potential, and maybe even potential players we could sell on. We're going to make a substitution. We'll bring Zach Giggs on. I probably looked at Zach Giggs just because he has got that versatility to play anywhere across the back line, but Sheffield United actually renewed his contract, so he's not going to be out of contract at the end of the year. Neither is Gabriel Overton. I don't know if I've gone in for him anyway. I think he's just been okay, so I probably wouldn't have tried to sign him anyway, but his contract is actually being extended at Peterborough. Whether we need to loan anyone next year, obviously we did make a use of Titchmarsh and Overton on loan from Peterborough. Obviously we do have that affiliation, so whether we use that again next year just depends on probably just on what we can bring in. But I think we've got a big wage budget available. We're not really overspending. I think we've done well to tie players down before we went up, but I can imagine we might struggle to bring players in next season just with the fact that they're probably wanting a proper National League wage, and we're kind of offering National League North wages at this point. But I think if we can get a couple in on anywhere from about £200 to £500 a week, I think that really fits into our budget. If there's a proper superstar available, like obviously Joe Knight, I think is a really big superstar. If we could get someone like that caliber, I don't mind paying £600-700, but probably nothing more than that. A little bit disappointing, but whatever. It's only a league game, and we've already wrapped it up. So that's our points total. 120 points is absolutely crazy. A 91 goal difference. What a season we've had, and incredible. Crazy stuff. So Gainsborough, Hitchin, Rushall, and Oxford City are going to go down in the non-playable leagues. We're getting promoted, and those are the 6 teams going into the playoffs. You would imagine it's probably going to be Scunthorpe or Scarborough, because those have probably been the 2 best teams other than us. Scunthorpe at one point were really neck and neck, but they really started to drop off in the second half of the season, whereas we just really kept going. Disappointing. I would be really surprised if anyone's managed a unbeaten season in this league. I think it's easier to probably do it in like the Championship or something, because just the schedule and the fact that players at this level are just so inconsistent. I think it's really hard to go unbeaten, but only the 4 losses all season in 46 games is some achievement. So the Cup Trophy final is actually not for like another month, so we'll come back for that. But if obviously anything interesting happens between now and then, we'll come back for that as well. So weirdly, the young players who leave their club actually join you before the FA Trophy final, which I think is quite odd, but there you go. We can take a closer look at them. So Trevor and Mully, that's going to be really... I'm just going to call him Mully from now on. Mully is on £450 a week, and he looks really good. We won't play any of these in the FA Trophy final because, I don't know, it just feels a bit wrong to play like brand new players in a cup final. I'm going to play the lads who've been here this year, who've actually got us to the final. I think that makes more sense. So he's going to play as a right attacking inside forward, probably. He looks really good, lots of pace, some decent technicals. Mentals aren't the best, but I think he's got a good bit of ability for the level and quite a bit of potential as well. Luca Lynch is second, maybe not as good as the other lads, but he's leading National League North player. I think I think he's a deep line playmaker. I think he's a deep line playmaker. We're going to throw him on that, and hopefully he can learn that over the summer. So we'll take care of that. Then we've got Louis Copley, another one who is looking really strong. He's a leading National League North player with championship potential. He's someone that will hopefully phase out Ibrahim. I do like Ibrahim, but I do think he probably doesn't have anywhere near as much potential as Louis Copley. A couple of these are on 2-year deals. So Trevor Mully, I just forgot. It's Mully, just Mully. He's only here till next season, to 2026. Luca Lynch is on a 2-year deal, so he's here till 2027, as is Louis Copley. So the cheap ones there, £160 a week, £210 a week, absolute bargains. The more expensive ones are here on just 1-year deals. But he looks like the pick of the bunch. I'm really happy with him. So he's not the best pressing forward, but honestly, I think he is. I mean, I think he's got some really good... obviously, some of this stuff isn't that high, but I still think for the level, I think he looks really good. Looks like he's been progressing a little bit as well, because he was only a 9 recently, unless that was just a bad scout report. So he's already a National League quality of player with championship potential. Not played a game, but... I'm not worried about that. I think he looks really good. I'm really excited to use him. He might be the only one that I might put on the bench. I might go against what I was going to say, but he's on a 1-year deal on £575 a week. So basically £50 more than Chukwuemeka, and he's probably already a better player than Chukwuemeka. So good bit of business. So for our last game of the season, we are at Wembley for our FA Trophy final, away to National League Barrow. This is the team we're going with. Cowler in goal, a familiar back four now with Hui, Kobe Small, Dinel Simiu and Brandon Horton. Harry Titchmarsh probably playing his last game for the club alongside Joe Knight, as well as Caleb Chukwuemeka, another one who's probably playing his last game for the club. Ibrahim in the middle, Reece Allport, who's just coming back from injury, and Gabriel Overton. I've decided to not put any of the young players on the bench. It doesn't feel right. They've not played here all season. As much as I'd love to have an Errol Mundle-Smith on the bench instead of a McCammon, I just don't think it's right to throw them in when they've not been here this season. They're going to be players for next season. I just don't think it's right. These are the lads that have got us to the final. They deserve to be the ones in the team. It is a little bit lacking in terms of options off the bench. Obviously, we'd in a perfect world, we'd probably use them. If I wasn't recording these, I'd probably put them in, but they're not really fit anyway, so I don't really want to use them. And it's a final as well, so it just doesn't feel right to just throw them in. Big fixture this. This is going to give us a really, really good test to see how good we are, because Barrow are a team that got into the playoffs. So if we can come into this and beat them, that'll just show us where, even with a squad that's probably not overly going to be accurate to where we are next season, I think it's probably going to be a better squad than this. We will at least see the level we're at. So great fixture to really test us, but obviously we want to win it as well. We want to just get a second trophy down, as we have done really well. A couple of things I forgot to mention, actually. We did have our youth intake. They were all rubbish, so I didn't bother signing anyone, but we do have a highlight now. First highlight of the game is Horton whipping it into Allport, who's just come back from injury, and Caleb Chukwuemeka gets his head on it. It's rebounded, and he follows up with the rebound, and Caleb Chukwuemeka once again providing a goal. If he didn't want astronomical wages, I would love to keep Chukwuemeka, because he can play on the right, but he's even better up front. He's an absolute massive man. He's a unit, but he just doesn't want to sign a reasonable contract. I will offer him one last chance before the end of the season to sign a reasonable contract before his contract expires, but I don't think he's going to be lesser in his demands. We've got Mundle-Smith coming in. I think he's going to be a good replacement. I think he's probably better than him anyway, but we'll have to see. We can't. It's not always just about the attributes. Sometimes it just seems to not work for certain players, and I think that's accurate to real life as well. Certain players could be good. It can just not work out at a specific club at a specific time. But Barrow looking for the equaliser, play it out to Love, but great block there from Horton, but Overton can't win the ball up and got there. I think it just absolutely leathers it from distance, and it does remain Peterborough Sports 1, Barrow 0. And honestly, if this is the level, I think we're going to go up again next year. I think we're at least going to get playoffs next year. I don't know if we'll win the league. I think that's probably asking too much for back-to-back league promotions. I've done it before, but I don't know if this is the team to do it here. But I definitely think we can get in the playoffs. So let's just tell them not to get complacent. We are one half away from our first cup final, from our first cup victory, actually, from our first domestic cup. Obviously, we won the league, but in terms of actually knockout cups, this would be the first one for us. And that would make it 2 trophies in 2 seasons, a very good start to my managerial career. And obviously this kind of work has been appreciated, because even with not withholding on the badges, my reputation's actually gone up an extra half a star, so I'm now 1.5 star reputation. Right, we're getting on now. It's quite a boring final, isn't it? I mean, you do get these sometimes where there's just nothing really happens, and I guess it's just going to be one of those. We're going to bring McCammon on. This will definitely be his last appearance for the club, unless we absolutely mess it up and end up back down at this I probably wouldn't even have him back at this level. So it is definitely the last time we're seeing McCammon as a player, at least at Peterborough Sports. But there is a late highlight here as Barrow whip the corner in. It's cleared out, but it's back to the corner taker. He places it in, and it's a shot from distance, but thankfully it's hit the crossbar and we do survive. I thought that was going to be a wonder goal. You do seem to get them in finals as well. We haven't really been that good today. I mean, we've done okay, but looking at the ratings, it's been a couple of standout players, and that's it. The back line have really struggled, but somehow, and I'm thinking it's been a Cowler absolute masterclass, because we haven't really seen the highlights, but we do see on the stats that he made 7 shots on target saved, and that's going to be it. We're going to win the FA trophy. I mean, that was a little bit anticlimactic, not really too much drama. We got the 1 goal we needed. Caleb Chukwuemeka, absolute hero once again, and that's all we needed. I guess there wasn't really too much to show, but surprised we didn't see any of those Cowler saves. But Cowler, is someone that's definitely in the won't call it the firing line, but he's definitely up for being replaced next year if a good goalkeeper comes available. But he is very much one that I think if we were to just stick with him for the year, I think he'd be good enough. He is definitely more of a National League North level goalkeeper, but I think with the way we play, he could be okay. He does have his mistakes in him. He does have his howlers, does Cowler, but I think he's good enough. I think he's fine. Like I say, if someone comes available, then we might replace him, but I'm not too worried about it. And he's just shown there why he deserves to keep his place. What a performance. Who's that doing a cartwheel in the back there? And the confetti coming from somewhere. I don't know. Wembley's open top, so I don't know where all this confetti, the blimp over the top of Wembley's dropping all the confetti. But we did win, so what a result. 1-0 win against Barrow, and that just shows us where we are. And we do get a second trophy. That's 2 trophies in 2 seasons now. We've done the double, the worst double in domestic English football history, the National League North and the FA Trophy. But we did get a little bit of money for it. I'm sure we probably got a bit of, gate receipts as well. So, wow, we're rocketing it up to over 500k. Amazing stuff. That's going to be really good for next year. So that's going to do it for this episode. That's going to do it for this season. Season 2 is wrapped up. So when we come back I guess the wrap-up will actually be tomorrow. So when we come back, not tomorrow, but next video. So next video, we'll have the end of Season 2 wrap-up and then the Season 3 transfer special all the way up to the first game of the season. I hope you enjoyed this season. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you've enjoyed this series. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all for more Football Manager videos very soon.